Well, good morning. I'm Brent Adams here with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report on this Monday, January 15th. Leading off the headlines this morning, the USDA's round of crop forecasts had a couple of mild surprises. More on that from USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
USDA's latest round of crop reports had a couple of mild surprises for traders. First, USDA forecasting a bigger corn crop than previously reported, bigger than most traders expected. USDA now looking at a 15.3 billion bushel crop. It had been saying 15.2. Either way, a record crop boosted by USDA's new improved corn yield estimate, 177.3 bushels an acre, taking corn yields also into the record books. For soybeans, USDA raising its previous yield forecast by about 1%, taking it to the fourth highest ever. Soybean crop now estimated just under 4.2 billion bushels, still down from the year before by 2%. And there was yet another surprise in the reports for the cotton market. USDA had been forecasting a 12% smaller cotton crop this year, now looks to be a 14% smaller crop at 12.4 million bales. Even though yields look better than before, USDA upped its estimate of the number of acres that had to be abandoned because of drought. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, USDA notes increases in both corn and soybean stocks, but what's behind the rise in both categories? Here to tell us is USDA Radio's Rod Bain.
What do U.S. grain supplies look like to start the new year? USDA's quarterly stocks estimates indicate corn stocks are up 13% year over year, while soybeans stored came in at 3 billion bushels, down 1% from a year ago. What does Chief Economist Seth Myers see regarding the increased stock totals?
They're way up at the top end of the range in terms of total stocks. And this is the first quarter, remember. But I think it goes back to the fact that we saw upward revisions on corn and upward revisions on soybean production. So in both cases, yields a little bit better than anticipated. And in the case of corn, offsetting a modest downward revision in area.
Wheat stocks rose 8% from this same time last year, with a quarterly disappearance of 23% of stocks below the same period a year earlier. Stocks were also reported up for barley, grain sorghum, and oats. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Well, wheat growers have planted fewer than expected acres to winter wheat. Here to tell us more about that is Gary Crawford.
For the wheat markets on Friday,
a little bit of a surprise today.
Chris Hawthorne with USDA's Statistics Service talking about USDA's first estimate of how many winter wheat acres the growers planted this past fall.
We are estimating 34.4 million acres, down 6.2% or 2.27 million acres from last year.
So USDA estimates winter wheat growers put in 34.4 million acres. Most traders were thinking 35.8 million. USDA's chief economist Seth Myers says last year's big increase in acreage was a response to very tight supplies and high prices. But this season,
I think what we've observed in the United States and around the world is we've kind of had a bounce back in supply, and maybe producers are thinking about returning to some other crops.
Wheat prices last marketing year averaged $8.83 a bushel, USDA forecasting $7.20 this next season. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
And a cause for encouragement if you're an orange lover. The latest USDA orange production forecast for the country shows a rise from previous surveys. But where's the increase coming from? Here again is Rod Bain.
An estimated 2% increase in total oranges produced in the U.S. this month is expected to raise production up 12% from 2022-23's final utilization. Mark Hudson of USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service says, interestingly, the breakdown from his home state, Florida, shows
there's no change from previous month. In fact, our estimate of 7.5 million boxes of non-Valencias and 13 million boxes of Valencia oranges are the same now as they were in October when for our first forecast. It seems like the size and the drop is kind of holding steady, and we run a regression model, so we think we're in a pretty good spot.
The all-orange production number rose thanks to quarterly reports coming in on both California's and Texas's crops. Orange production in the Golden State is forecasted up 3% from the previous one, and the Lone Star State's all-orange totals are up an estimated 19% in that same time period. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
And finally this morning, U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack believes there's a way additional funding for farm safety net reference prices can be obtained without moving monies within a new farm bill. Here one final time is Rod Bain.
There is optimism by some that a new farm bill will be approved by Congress this first quarter of the calendar year. When asked his thoughts during an RFD TV town hall meeting Thursday, Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said this is possible, even with potential challenges within Farm Bill deliberations, such as
folks want to increase the reference prices. They want more support for the PLC programs, the ARC programs, and so forth. Well, that costs money.
in most cases, that means moving Farm Bill appropriations from one title to another, which could lead to less support of the total Farm Bill within Congress. The Secretary believes a potential solution could be Commodity Credit Corporation funds to address reference prices.
The ARC payments and the PLC payments and the CRP payments all come from the Commodity Credit Corporation. So they've done it in the past. They just need to get to a point where they understand and appreciate that is the easiest and simplest and best way to get a Farm Bill done.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Well, you can keep up with the latest in the world of agriculture by subscribing to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each day, we bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot-button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Episode 114 is out there now, and we'd love for you to go check it out. We're talking corn and cotton crop protection strategies with the folks from Vive Crop Protection, and we have a 2024 cattle market outlook with Rabo AgriFinance's Lance Zimmerman. The episode also features brand new music from emerging country singer-songwriter Evie May. Again, the place to find episode 114 is ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us daily on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. Each day, we bring you our award-winning agriculture programming, as well as the best in traditional country music, mixed in with a little bluegrass, western swing, southern rock, and inspirational music. Again, the place to find Rural Strong Radio is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. We're portable, so take us with you everywhere you go while you're working on the farm or ranch. Let's get through the workday together. Well, I'll be back again tomorrow with another Rural Strong Morning Ag Report here on Steve Shetler Media. Make it a great day, everybody.